Hello, welcome to CSC Sports. I'm your host, Jay Halvin, and today on CSC Sports, I want to talk about Ricky Rubio and Steve Nash. And the question I want to ask you guys out there, will Ricky Rubio be the next Steve Nash? Will he be the next Steve Nash? Well, let's break down the two. I know a lot of you guys watched the Lakers and Timberwolves last night, and you probably heard Kenny Smith, Shaq, and Dennis Scott talk about Ricky Rubio. Well, it inspired me to have my own analysis on it and break it down. You know what I mean? And that's something that I wanted to do anyway, and I decided to hurry up and speed it up on the process on my list of topics. Well, let's get started. I think there are two different types of guards. They assemble in a lot of ways, but they're like totally different from my perspective. The perspective is, I think that Ricky Rubio is a bigger, more flashy, more flamboyant guard. Steve Nash is more of a fundamentally sound guard that has flair at times with his passes. I think Ricky Rubio, as far as passing the basketball, is a little bit more savvier than Steve Nash. I think he's more risky. You know what I mean? I think he does it with more of a reckless abandonment behind it at times. On the other hand, Steve Nash, I think Steve Nash, his passes, to me, he has a lot of flair. He throws some nice dimes. Steve Nash has the fundamentals of basketball, so he don't turn the ball over a lot. Steve Nash is not going to take a lot of risky moves to jeopardize a turnover with his passes. I particularly like the way Ricky Rubio passes because he has more deception than Steve Nash has, or had rather. He's more deceptive, and when you look at Ricky Rubio's upside, down the line, what he can become into as a basketball player, especially being a 6'4" point guard, the sky's the limit. But what makes a great assist guy at the point guard is when you can score. See, one thing that made Steve Nash great, a lot of people really didn't respect, if you just watched Steve Nash on the Phoenix Suns of Dallas Mavericks, he didn't win anything. He went to the playoffs every year and put on the show, but he never really won anything, is that Steve Nash shot like 90% from the foul stripe. He shot like almost 50% from the three, and from the field, he was in the high 40s, if not 50, just shooting field goals. And when you can shoot, you have to be respected. You know what I mean? Sometimes Steve Nash had to be doubled when he was hot. And when you send another guy in on Steve Nash, that means it's 2-on-1. Somebody is open out of the 5. You understand what I'm saying? Somebody is not being guarded. And Steve Nash is going to find that man every time. On Ricky Rubio's behalf, sometimes you can lock down and go one-on-one and force him to have to beat his man. Now, it's probable that he can beat his man and get to the rack, but is he going to finish? Is the ball going to go in the hoop? That's why Steve Nash and John Stockton, guys of that, and Pete Maravich, guys of that magnitude, when you see guys like Jason Williams come along, White Chocolate, and Ricky Rubio, you want to give them praise. Bino Urich, you want to give them praise, but they have so far to go when you look at the whole package as a point guard. And I think what works in Ricky Rubio's favor is that this is a big if he falls in love with the NBA game, because we remember when he first was drafted by Minnesota, he wasn't too fun to play in Minnesota, but now I think he's starting to like it a little bit. It's starting to be fun with him. Like he was telling the one player to smile more on his team. I think he's starting to come around a little bit more. So the sky's the limit for Ricky Rubio, but he has to improve on his scoring. He has to become a scoring threat to be able to be an upper echelon guard. Now, I have to give Ricky Rubio some props. Ricky Rubio, this is what he has working in his favor, what makes him a good point guard, is that when you have a whole team full of athletic guys that can't really create for themselves, Ricky Rubio can take a team full of misfits, guys that's super duper athletic, guys that probably can shoot threes but can't create their own shot, and he can get up and down the court, and he got a lot of big men. You got some big men that can't really do anything unless they're right a foot away from the basket. Ricky Rubio can get on the floor with all those misfits, and he can make it happen. You know what I mean? He can make it happen. As far as on the defensive end, I think Ricky Rubio probably plays a tad bit more defense than Steve Nash. Not saying that Steve Nash never played defense. A lot of people say that. I just think Steve Nash is so exhausted defensively. It's like, hey, we're gonna outscore you. And the coaches he played for, that was their motto. Look, let's outscore our opponent. Don Nelson admitted out of his own mouth when he was in Dallas that I'd rather outscore you than stop you from scoring. So that's the nature of that. As far as Ricky Rubio being the next Steve Nash, I think he can be, but it's gonna be hard until he gets a better jump shot, a better 3-point shot, and shoot better from the foul stripe. It's gonna be hard. You know what I mean? It's gonna be hard. You know what I mean? Because I think, as far as athleticism, I think Steve Nash is probably a tad bit more faster, but I think Ricky Rubio, as far as agility, I think he has more agility than Steve Nash. And those are two different things. You know what I mean? So they're similar, you know what I mean? But they kind of fall apart right now. But I think down the line, I think that Ricky Rubio, the sky's the limit. I mean, he can get a jump shot. It's not like that he can't get a jump shot. He can actually shoot the basketball in practice and get a jump shot. So, till next time, I'm your boy Jay Howard. I want to know what you guys think. Peace from CSC Sports, and I'm out.